event, What Designers Want, organised by DesignX. This is the second of these events. And over the years, my name is Andrew Mackenzie, and I was editor-in-chief of Architecture Review at Inside Magazine for a few years. We have three speakers tonight, and they will speak in succession. Short, pithy, provocative little points about, good alliteration there, on how they approach the whole business of understanding suppliers and where products come from and how they engage with them. We have Meryl Hare, principal from Hare & Klein. We have Matthew Allen, associate director at Bates Smart, and we have Matt Reynolds, principal designer at Platform Architecture. And I think we'll all be engaged with their comments, after which there's an opportunity, really, I suppose, the main focus of tonight is for the engagement from you guys to the stage, where you can ask all the questions that you want and put them in a corner and demand answers to how you can get to them better. So please, let's start with the first of our speakers.
When I first arrived in Australia, the following year, I went to my very first DesignX. It was in Melbourne. Over the years, when DesignX was sold and then resold, I watched it really shrink, and I watched what happened in the industry, and that was that it started to fragment. And when I was asked by the new DesignX team, excuse me, if I would join an advisory panel, I immediately said yes, because I had a lot of opinions and a lot of complaints. I went away with a whole bunch of other designers, and we made a long list of wishes for DesignX. In my opinion, one of the things that you have to do when you're in practice is you have to make sure that the designers that are working, the young designers that are coming up through the firm, have as much product knowledge as possible. And so when we go to DesignX in Melbourne, it would cost me about $26,000 to $30,000 to take my team down to Melbourne to see the trade fair, which I have done faithfully for many, many years. This is from one of my team. We want to specify non-copied furniture pieces to support the design industry and raise up those that are successful, not knock them off. To practice in an ethical manner. From a DesignX point of view, we want to be able to source at a trade level materials, furniture, equipment, sanitary ware that supports our profession, that is not readily available in retail stores, that allows us to add value as market leaders and to be able to present new products to clients before they hit the market.
But I think the one opportunity you've really got to excite the client is going to be the only person who can really say that is the product I want, that's the one that's got to stay in this job. The only time you can do that, the best way to do that is with good quality samples and materials that you can put in front of them and get them excited about. Our commercial and multi-residential projects have teams of probably 5 designers, one project leader with 4 other people on the team. And most of our interiors projects have generally 1 to 3 staff members, I suppose, working on a project at any one time. My role on projects is as a project leader, so I normally have 2 or 3 projects going at one time, and usually a team of 2 or 3 people I'm working with on each of those projects. I like to be involved in making product and material selections. I think it's obviously a very important part of the project. Personally, I think establishing ongoing relationships with suppliers is very, very important. And I think DesignX is a really good opportunity to do that, because you get a wide range of people you haven't had contact with before that you can excite and get interested in your products. I think also lunchtime seminars in the larger offices, we have a few of those. It's a really good way to gain exposure to the more junior staff who often don't know what products that are out there. The big challenge, I think, in the specification environment at the moment is D&C procurement. You know, I'm sure you've all had the problems of working with the architect or the interior designer to choose the perfect product for the job, only to have the main contractor substitute with something else, and then potentially the subcontractor substitute it again. In my experience, sometimes lunchtime seminars or even design presentations for that matter haven't been, I guess, have been put together really as a sales pitch rather than have really been thought through about how. I think the content really needs to capture how your suppliers are going to help the designers, you know, get this product onto the job and get that built. When they come across the sales pitches, it's hard to make it useful from our point of view. On the Kensington College's job, we've had a really great, been through a really great process with Austral in the brick selection for that job. We're really trying to push something a bit different there.
So I've sort of talked about how we find products. You know, mostly myself, it's through periodicals or building product news, those sorts of things, and then we'll go online. So you've got to have a strong online presence. I think you've got to have a lot of information there. Often I'll go to a website and it's quite pretty, but it doesn't have the information there. You know, we might be looking for CAD files, different format files, depending on which office I've been working in. So we might want to download those and quickly bring those into a Revit or an AutoCAD situation, or even you know, SketchUp or ArchiCAD. And if the more sort of platforms you can provide us those sorts of details on, you know, obviously this can go to furniture. I'm more talking about the architectural sort of experience. We'll be looking for that technical information to bring straight into the project, and if that detail can draw that detail for us and we don't have to think about it too much, then we're going to adopt it a lot more readily than something we have to work through and design and resolve ourselves. Not to say we don't do that, we love doing that, but often if there's a detail out there, if there's a component, if there's some sort of product out there that can solve that problem instantly, then we'll obviously defer to that. You know, it's probably got a background, it's got a track record, and we're going to go there. What we also like, as you know, my colleagues have mentioned, is quick turnaround on that information, and also quick turnaround on quotes or you know, feedback on what we can and can't do with your product. Probably the worst thing you can do for us is not respond to us. So, you know, as an architect, I'm pretty keen to get to the National Architecture Conference every year. I missed DesignX last year, but that's only because they were out of kilter. The National Architecture Conference was held in Brisbane and DesignX was held in Sydney. Well, that was this year, sorry. So I missed it, but I've been going for years, and it's because you've got to capture the market, you've got to capture the audience. We wander out there at lunchtime or at a morning tea break and get to go through the stalls, maybe drink a glass of champagne and have a few oysters here or there. Certainly, as an architect, I'm drawn to suppliers who present their products in a different manner. So show us how something's crafted, show us how something's put together, rather than just displaying the product as it is. So.
The floor. Do we have any questions from the floor?
I have a colleague that went to the Melbourne event and he said it was raised there that it was critical to have prices on the website. I'm reluctant to put a price up on there because I think it varies depending on the scale of the project.
Yeah, we recognise that, you know, I could be working on my place for $30,000 and I want to specify only 2 air blades because, you know, I've only got 1 bathroom but I want 2 of them, one for a guy, one for a gal. But then on a project like the SCG, when we're ordering hundreds, we know that there's going to be a competitive price in there. We all recognise that in the industry.
Once again, how do you get most of your information about new products, new materials?
It goes back to the barrier that I was pushing, was that it used to be through a really good trade fair. I go to Milan virtually every year. That's where I pick up a lot of the furniture, new furniture that's coming through. But otherwise, yeah, it's following the press, it's looking at blogs, it's getting information from our suppliers, and we have, this is where the relationship with suppliers is so important, is that once you build up that relationship, I think Bank Smart have a lunchtime, seminar, yeah, something like that. Yeah, we have a dedicated Friday afternoons where we invite people to bring information to us with new product.
We are now CPD certified, and I'm sort of asking how's the best way of speaking to you in relation to if you're interested in actually having a CPD presentation.
Yes. They cost so much money, and we're always looking for CPD points. So the best thing to do is probably contact the reception. I think Cochrane's Architecture looks for those sorts of events where if it's mentioned there's a CPD opportunity, so a chance to learn, then definitely we would be interested. I think Cochrane's would be interested. I certainly would be interested.
Is it possibly an idea for some companies to figure out ways of not only getting to you, but also getting to the clients, and so that they're, in a sense, both speaking to each other? So when you specify something, the client's already aware of that. Is that something that could be done more of, do you think?
I'd say the issue is more with the contractor than the client, because the trend towards D&C is one of your client taking less responsibility for selections, products, and passing that responsibility on to the contractor. So I think that the relationship needs to turn more towards the contractor than towards the client side.
If we have a new product coming out of DesignX and it's not released for 12 months, how do you take that?
A lot of our projects will take 12 months. So we're happy to do that. I mean, we go to Milan to see new product, and a lot of that we see in Milan is not going to be here in 18 months. So we'd love to see new product, because a lot of the projects that you're working on are going to take at least that time to come to fruition.
Do gimmicks work for you?
Small scale rules get me every time.
That's true.
I think like all things, it's got to be a good gimmick.